Hey, it's Kyle here, and today I'll be reviewing Temptation of the Force by Tessa Gratton. This is the newest book in the High Republic series. Super excited to talk about this book because wow. Did I say wow? This book was quite a read, very amazing. I enjoyed it a lot. Honestly, this is probably my favorite book in the High Republic series since Light of the Jedi and Fallen Star and Phase 1 for very different reasons. Light of the Jedi and Fallen Star had these amazing action sequences. It was nonstop action for certain parts of it. It felt like a roller coaster. There were other aspects of those books I loved, but the action of those books were absolutely amazing. Temptation of the Force does have some action set pieces, not quite as on as large a scale as Light of the Jedi and Fallen Star, that are very cool. They're smaller ones, but they're still very cool. But that's not why I think most people are going to love this book. This book is all about character development and character relationships. And I believe this is the best Star Wars books I have ever seen that has really developed character relationships and the overall character arc in such a unique and interesting way in Star Wars. I absolutely loved it. If you've been reading the High Republic series and you haven't got this one yet, go out, get this book as soon as possible and read it because you will love it. At least I hope you will love it like I did. Some brief points I want to touch on because I don't want to get into too much detail because I don't want to spoil it for anybody. Basic idea behind this book is the Jedi and the Republic think they figured out a way to cross the Storm Wall into Nile space. So they're ready to finally start taking the fight back to the Nile and maybe start liberating planets that the Nile have conquered. So very much we're seeing some hope for the first time in the fight against the Nile. It's feeling like, oh, maybe we're finally gaining the edge and we're ready to start fighting back. At the same time, there's another scenario that's not so optimistic. There's this mysterious blight that's starting to impact planets. It is just anything that the blight touches, it kills. From plants, insects, animals, species like a human or any of the alien species that make up Star Wars. Touch the blight, you start to husk up and die. Basically, almost like calcify. And nobody can figure out how this blight is spreading, why it's spreading where it is. So the Jedi are trying to figure this out. At the same time, this is also impacting Nile space. So the leader of the Nile is trying to figure this out and is like, is this something I can weaponize and take advantage of and use against the Republic and the Jedi? But both sides recognize this is very, very dangerous. So you have hope on one side, but this mysterious blight going like, well, if the Jedi and the Republic, even if they win, is this blight going to make the victory pointless? So that's the basic plot that the story is revolving around, or the action sequences that the book is revolving around. Like I said, this book is all about character development and character relationships. The main one, which I think is what all High Republic fans have been waiting for, is Avar and Elzar. They have obviously been star-crossed lovers, even though in reality they don't really realize it or they've been denying it. And this is the book where this finally comes to the forefront. So this book really revolves around that relationship and those feelings that Elzar and Avar are having for each other. And we get it from both point of views. We get what Avar is thinking, we get what Elzar is thinking. After everything that they've both went through, weirdly, that they've kind of flipped roles, and now it's Avar that really wants them to explore their affection and their love for each other, and Elzar is a little bit more hesitant, and he's afraid because of his brushes with the dark side that maybe he needs to stay more in the straight and narrow, and stuff that the Jedi have always preached that can lead to the dark side, like these deep personal relationships that make you care more about something else than your commitment to the Force. He's worried that might lead him down to the dark side. Those strong feelings, even if it's a strong feeling like love, that strong feeling could eventually lead to more negative feelings into the dark side. So you have these amazing scenes where Elzar and Avar have these very intimate discussions trying to figure out the future of what they are going to be. One of my favorite scenes I love so much in this book is Elzar has a conversation with Yoda where he basically asks Yoda, is it okay for a Jedi to love? And their conversation is absolutely amazing. I love it. It's one of those things when you read it, it's like, I wish Yoda could have had this conversation with Anakin. Things might have turned out in a more positive direction. But their exploration of what it means to be a Jedi and if a Jedi can actually love is beautiful in this book. So if you've been very invested in the Elzar, Avar, will they, won't they drama in this series, you will love this book. Some other characters that I think get some really interesting exploration. Burry gets an amazing amount of focus in this book, and we get a lot of his viewpoints of how he views his Force, how his being lost for a while after the events of Fallen Star really impacted him, because so far it seemed like, from what we've seen him, like, oh, he's okay, he's doing well. But in this book, it really explores the lines. We realize he's really been dealing with a lot of trauma. It's really still sticking with him. And the other Jedi really don't understand fully what he went through. So everything with Burry in this book is amazing. Burry and Bel's relationship in this book, their friendship that just seems to be growing stronger and stronger in this book is wonderful. Love it. Vernestra gets a lot of elements of this book, which I love. She's one of my favorite characters. So you see a lot of tension between Vernestra and Elzar, since Vernestra really in some ways blames Elzar for the death of her master and his brush with the dark side, and Elzar struggling with that and wanting to mend that relationship because he had such a close relationship with her master. They were, best friends, that it, really breaks his heart that his last Padawan kind of blames him for his friend's death. So that's very interesting. We get so much cool character development in this book from so many characters. I'm not going to mention them all because that's one thing I love about this book. Sometimes you'll read a cool book, you go like, oh, these 2-3 main characters in the storyline get a lot of character development, but all the other ones are kind of background characters, and that's cool. There's 7 or 8 characters in this book that get major character development, who are, in some cases, just background characters in this book. They're not the main characters. They're maybe the 7th or 8th element of this story, but they still get a very major character arc in this book and really push along what their character is going to be in the future for the rest of this series. So absolutely love this. If you love character development books, if you love exploring character relationships, you're going to love this book. But like I said, there's still some really cool action sequences, and this book definitely advances the plot along to, kind of begin wrapping up Phase 3 of the High Republic. You start to see the outlines of how this conflict between the Republic and Nile might end. Well, this is a first. I don't think I've ever done this for a book review, but after I filmed the review, and actually I have to say, I filmed the review before I went to work. And while I was at work, I realized, I forgot to mention a very big part of the book that I really enjoyed a lot. I think I'm going to go back and film an additional part of my review and plug it back in. So that's what I'm doing now. I'm filming a little extra bit from my Temptation of the Force review. And what I forgot to mention was one of my favorite characters of the High Republic, Porter Engle, has a big role in this book, and we get a lot of really cool character development with him and his obsession to track down and kill the general. This general has obviously been a huge part of his overall storyline, going back from when we learn more about his backstory in the comic The Blade to earlier books in the High Republic series. Definitely, this is almost, I kind of compare it, if you don't think like Batman versus the Joker. This is Porter and the General. They're kind of destined to fight each other, and they both kind of almost become obsessed. Like, they're more focused on trying to kill each other than the overall conflict between the Jedi and the Nile. So everything going on in that part of the storyline, I really enjoyed a lot. A very shocking moment towards the end of the book where there's a big reveal in regard to the General and Porter that I did not see coming, and I found very fascinating, and I'm very interested to see where they go with that. But I felt like I had to film this addition to the review because I really enjoyed the parts of the Porter book, parts of the book that dealt with Porter, and to me that just shows you how much is going on in the Temptation of the Force that I absolutely love that book, but I forgot to mention a really cool storyline with Porter because there's so many other cool storylines in this book. So anyway, that's my addition to this review. The Porter storyline is very awesome in Temptation to the Force. But anyway, that's my review of Temptation to the Force by Tessa Gratton. I absolutely loved it. It's an amazing book, and I think it's up there for me with Light of the Jedi and Fallen Star as one of my favorite High Republic books ever. So I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, hit the like button. If you have yet, please subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate the support. Thanks for watching. I'll see you the next time, and may the Force be with you.